Hello everybody, my name is Star Raptor. Welcome back for another episode of This Week in Star Wars Canon. Now normally I would talk about everything that ties into the movies, but guys, this week was very special. We had a release of another film in the Star Wars universe, Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. Now I'm not going to talk too much about this because I have my reaction as well as my spoiler-free review on my channel now, which you can go check out, which I go way more in depth. But just real quick thoughts is I love the movie. First standalone, it felt very different from every other Star Wars film in the saga of Skywalkers. Great new locations, characters, weapons, really just great messages I got from that. Just amazing sequences. Again, ILM just knocked it out of the park with the visual effects. So guys, make sure you check out my review on the channel here. But things that tie into Rogue One, we had quite a few releases. First off, I want to talk about the visual guide right here. Now this is made by, written by Pablo Hidalgo, the Canon master on Twitter himself, and this thing is awesome. I picked this up the day after I seen Rogue One for the first time, and I basically tore through it in 2 days. If you guys aren't familiar with the visual dictionary they had for The Force Awakens, it's the same type of thing. This is basically every character you see, all the background characters, they have stories fleshed out, all these descriptions about the ships, like the cross-section, incredible images, like really cool tidbits about all these characters, like for instance like the Death Troopers. There was a couple page spread about them, about how they're basically like Spartans from Halo. They're these people that are picked, you know, from a certain age. They got to be a certain height. They go to Scarif. They get genetically modified to become these super soldiers. So I thought that was really interesting. Really cool side characters. For instance, I really like Edrio and Benthic Two Tubes, Saul's like little lieutenant guys. Really cool backstory for them. Bistan, all those characters, really awesome stuff. Going into Jeddah, they talk about a lot of the religion of like the Guardians of the Wills, which is what Chirrut Imwe and Baze Malbus are part of. So I really got a kick out of that. And it just really fleshes out the story of the characters. After you see Rogue One, you're definitely gonna want to pick this up. And next up, after you finish watching Rogue One, be sure to pick up the novelization of Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, written by Alexander Freed. Now, you might recognize that name because Alexander Freed wrote Battlefront Twilight Company, and this novel is awesome. It basically it fleshes out the characters again, and it adds like different kind of scenes that we didn't see in the movie. You know, and more layers to the character, which I really liked. And there's also these cool like little mission report things every couple chapters or so, which are basically like in-universe emails to different characters, whether the Rebels or on the Empire. So it shows you like that much more immersion into the world. So yeah, I really like Free's writing. I also picked up the Force Awakens novelization when it came out, and I feel like this one's already a little bit better. I'm only like 50 pages into this novelization, but I will definitely recommend it to you guys that are trying to get a little bit more out of Rogue One. Alright, so we also had Doctor Aphra number 2. Number 1 came out earlier this month, so this is a continuation. Basically, Doctor Aphra has been blackmailed from her father, and her father did that so he can get her to continue this lifelong mission of his to find this kind of ancient mystery that's been going on. And so basically, Aphra and him and the whole crew, Black Kirsten Tin, B2, 000, they go on this mission to try to uncover the secrets of this very long ago civilization of Jedi. So we kind of uncover more stuff about them, and they end up going to a world that we all know, and this kind of does tie into Rogue One because they go back to Base 1 on Yavin to go to the Besasi Temple to uncover these secrets. And once you know, the Imperials have occupied Base 1. Obviously this takes place after New Hope, so the Rebels have already left that base to try to find another one after the destruction of the Death Star. So really cool connective tissue. So I'm going to go into my positives of this issue. First off, we get the flashback scene right from the beginning of this issue, going back to like 18 years in the past, and basically Aphra, like, her relationship with her father back then was really bad because basically he was so obsessed with his research that Aphra and her mother basically left him to go somewhere else. And so that was really interesting because in the first issue we also got another flashback of her, how she got the title of Doctor. So we're really getting this character fleshed out in the universe. She's becoming more important to Star Wars for sure. And going off of her motivations, in this issue we even see her go to the extent of threatening her father with like the blaster to his head. And then instructing 000 to like freaking torture him to the point, like almost he doesn't do it, but she's right about to say to do it and she doesn't, because she says, oh yeah, I do have some kind of ethics. But yeah, it's definitely really interesting, this character, now that we're seeing more into her. Alright, so I really enjoyed how we're getting more backstory on a Jedi, even through a story that has nothing to do with Jedi, so that's really interesting. So we're particularly dealing with this certain sect, I guess, of Force users called the Ordu Espectu. Now, if you guys know any references to the old EU legends, let me know in the comments, because I'm not really familiar with this name. I don't know if it's made up now or if it's something in reference to something way back. But anyway, so it's pretty cool because all these different people, so Aphra, she has a different thinking pattern for what went down, and then her father has a different thinking pattern for what went down. They basically replay the same scene in our heads, but with like different motivations. So you had the Ordu Expectu wielding blue lightsabers in the father's retelling of the story, because it's like a folk tale basically. And then Aphra says, no, that wasn't how it goes, and it explains her side of the story with the same people, except the Ordu Expectu are wielding red lightsabers and pretty much like the Sith at that point. And then it's even funnier because then you have BT saying, beeping basically like, I know what happens, and it shows him as like a giant form with like the fighters going towards him. I'm like, oh, this is hilarious. So yeah, I really like that. And then one of the coolest things, and I wasn't expecting this from Doctor Aphra, is how they actually go back to Yavin. They don't really know it's Yavin. They had no clue that the rebels even had a base there, because when they get there, they thought they would go right into this Masazi temple, no problems. They get there, there's an Imperial occupation, obviously after the rebels had left there already, after the destruction of the Death Star. So it's really quite interesting seeing what is going to happen, because they got to get into that Yavin base, but the whole garrison is there. Obviously she can't show herself because Vader still thinks she's dead. And just tying this all up is, overall, I like every time I picked up the first issue and the second issue, both times I was pleasantly surprised by Doctor Aphra, guys. Like, I thought this would be kind of like a throwaway comic, but its impact on canon in general has been pretty remarkable so far. I mean, just the thought of her dealing with the ancient things of the galaxy. So we're gonna go into the mythos of the Jedi and what happens in the Old Republic. To me, that is super interesting, seeing all the lore there is, seeing it through her eyes. And of course, she's an awesome character. Her cast is amazing. Black Kirsten Dunst's pretty funny, always just trying to get in violence. The droids are just absolutely a blast. So guys, definitely pick up Doctor Aphra #2 and #1 if you haven't already. I think it's a great way to experience Star Wars from a different point of view. But that is going to do it for my episode of This Week in Star Wars Canon. So what did you guys think of Rogue One? Did you pick up the visual guide and novelization? Are you reading Doctor Aphra? Please feel free to talk to me in that comment section below. Guys, please make sure to subscribe to my channel so you never miss another video. I'm Star Raptor, and may the Force be with you always. So, did you like the video? Then make sure you rate it a thumbs up, and if you did that, go over there, hit that Star Raptor head to subscribe to my channel. Doing so will keep you up to speed on all of my latest content, speaking of which you can see a couple of my recent uploads down below. I'm also on social media, so what are you waiting for? Let's start nerding out!